in the theater, bro. Sit in the theater, bro.
I mean, it's amazing to see something like that. Again, in the movie theaters is a totally different experience on a whole. And I enjoyed every minute of that movie, and I would still go to the movie theater to this day and watch that movie. Definitely, it was amazing.
So shout out to young Mike. Shout out to young Mike getting it, man. He hit me on the he hit me he hit me on the jack as we started.
Okay. I mean, shout out to everybody who's listening at this moment in
Yeah, shout
time.
out to
Thank you for
everybody.
being here, man.
So
We know
um
you may be on your way to church, but just give us a little bit of time, and we'll get through this.
you might
Definitely.
you might not be on the way to church, but wherever you at, we appreciate you tuning in. You heard?
Of course, of course.
So how was your
Wait,
week?
my week was great. I mean, it was very productive, as always. And actually, the volume of work has increased since I got back from Dominican Republic.
That's good.
And I'm thinking things are like going back to its normality to an extent. Now, with everything going on with the war over in Ukraine, I don't know if that's going to have a lasting effect like the pandemic had. But I don't know if you knew, bro, but they're lifting a lot of the mandates here, regarding, vaccine cards and wearing masks, in
Mm-hmm.
indoor places. So, I think it's a sign of somewhat, things going back to normal, basically.
Yes, sir. Speak of the boy, there we go.
Yes, sir.
What's happening, Mike? What's happening?
Speaking of the boy,
Yeah, so uh yeah, man.
how about your week?
It's the same. They lift some mandates is a little bit scary, but um
Mm-hmm. I can understand that for some people.
what's good, young Mike getting it? My
What
boy
it
come right.
is.
It's been a good week. I was inspired.
Oh,
Uh I uh
nice.
I spent time in the strip club. So that's my
Okay.
muse. So that's like home for me. So
I'm willing to bet that a lot of the greatest music that you've put out as an artist has come from that place.
yeah,
Definitely.
yeah. So I went into they got I don't know if you remember the club Sin City up in New
Yes.
York. So they
Yes.
opened the Sin City down here.
Oh
When the
wow.
Sin City up there closed, they
Mm-hmm.
moved a lot of the same furniture and aesthetic down here. And they
Mm.
opened up and the shit opened up 5 minutes from the crib, bro.
Wow.
I was down there, I was in there, I was, kicking it with the manager and getting shots and drinks and enjoying myself and just enjoying the atmosphere like I usually do.
Just
And
unwinding, which is
just
something
unwind.
that we all need at some point from a
Yeah,
psychological standpoint, I
yeah,
believe.
just being in my element, dog.
Right.
So just for those who don't, that's my element. So just being in my element, being where I'm comfortable, knowing I ain't really tripping, I ain't worried about a whole lot of nonsense. I'm good money. It's usually a secure space. Like I'm good. Like I'm good money. So
That's excellent.
other than that, man, it's been a good week. Yeah, that's it. So we can
Dive
get
into
into
this.
get
All
into
right.
some things. First off, let's go ahead and announce a giveaway, Clapclip giveaway winners.
Definitely.
We got Davon,
Mm-hmm.
12 gauge,
And Nikki.
and Nikki. Nikki got hers. Nikki technically won already. Gage and Davon won off the post.
Right, correct.
So please,
Congratulations.
congratulations, y'all. They will all be getting free pairs of clap cleats. So make sure y'all are paying attention this week to y'all inboxes. So when niggas reach out to y'all can send out addresses for us to send you your free clap cleats shirt.
Definitely. And thank you to Clap Cleats as well.
Well, shout out to clap cleats. We're gonna keep working, we're gonna keep growing. By the way, clapcleats.com. Use the code PODFOLK and get 15% off. I know for a fact a couple of y'all have been using the code. We appreciate you. Thank you for everybody who's out there, taking our word on these things. Believe me,
Yeah,
these things will change your life,
definitely.
change your sex life. Believe me.
give you the traction that you need. Definitely. Clap cleats. Get
There
'em.
you go. There you go, Devon. Yeah. It's funny his last name is Dix and he just got sex socks. So, you know, put him to good use, brother. Put him to good use, broski.
Definitely. Sounds like the ultimate dad joke.
No, that's crazy. That's crazy. All right, so quick question.
Where's the merch banner at?
Oh, here we go. Look at this. Hold up. Bang. Go get merch. Go get your merch. Go
Get
buy.
your free NFT.
Go get your free NFT. We only have, I think, 20 of them left, so get them while you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, go get the free shit we giving you and buy some shit while you at it.
Definitely. Maybe next week we can add free NFT to the banner, baby. Maybe.
If there's any left next week, we will definitely add it to the banner.
Yeah.
All right. Boom. Money versus happiness.
Man,
this is
like such a topic for us adults. Like, you know, I don't think even teenagers or much less children think about this shit the way we do. But go ahead, continue, kind sir.
I think Devon is a fool, bro. Do you believe that money equals happiness? Before you fully answer that was a question to everyone listening. Do you believe that money equals happiness? Now, I need you to understand, everyone is not going to answer this question the same. There is no wrong answer to this.
Or right
answer. This is everybody's situation is different.
Mm-hmm.
The same way everyone's idea of success is different. But this question that I'm asking, the reason I'm asking is because I was in a very interesting conversation with a young man, a young man that I'm cool with, a young boy, and he was talking about how money fixes everything.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And that if you had money, the problems that he had wouldn't exist. And I tried to explain to him, look at Kanye right now. He's super unhappy. He's been unhappy for a long time. Look at these celebrities that kill themselves. They're unhappy and they're rich as shit. So I pose the question to you, Jay. Money versus happiness. Does money equal happiness to you? Do they go hand in hand? How does one play into the other for you?
You know, before I start, I just wanted to mention that Sincere said this was a question for everybody. And I just want everyone to understand that this podcast that we have here is an open conversation for everyone, for your point of view and the way you see things and the way you assimilate things when it comes to life. This is what this podcast is all about. That's why I continually say that this podcast is of the people, you know, because it gives us all a voice, you know, and you can have a voice through us as well. So before I answer this question as well, you know what? I'll get right into it. I think personally, it's two totally separate things because, you know, being happy is just that, and having money is just that as well. Can money contribute to happiness? Yes, I think so. But I feel like it can only contribute but so much because anything else can derail it. So, in that sense, I think that it's two totally separate things. I think one may contribute to the other for a significant amount of time, but then there's going to come a moment where, all right, I have all this money. Am I still happy? You know, and I think that's how I see it. You know, you can't really tie it into each other. It's just so much deeper than just money just fixing everything. Money can't actually fix everything, and that's my belief. I don't think it can fix everything. And there are a ton of people with money out there, like you just mentioned, that are miserable as hell. So I don't think one has to do with the other. And I've seen people happy with happiness can be defined in a lot of ways, because I've seen someone playing in dirt and being completely happy, for instance. I've seen people, who may not generate as much money as I do, and they are completely happy with their lives. So it all depends on how you assimilate life, and basically on your outlook. That's how I see it.
I think there is a fine line between, first off, Mike says, if you ever seen it, Mike thinks that not all the time money does not equal happiness all the time. What's up, mama? My mom says, she says, no, hold on,
Hey,
she just
mama.
said something, man. No, money doesn't equal happiness. Happiness comes from yourself. Money can only add different levels of experience to your happiness.
I agree.
That's my mom's true mom's. Davon, more money, more problems. Very true. Very
As
true.
Biggie said, yeah.
My idea of money cannot buy you happiness, but it does buy you a certain level of comfort. What that means is, depending upon what it is you want to do in life, depends upon how you're gonna feel and what you're gonna say. Like, look, if I'm going to cry, I'd rather cry in a Bentley than on a bus. I mean, it's a level of comfort that comes with certain things. Now, when you're talking about what comes with the happiness, I'm literally just yesterday. Was yesterday or Friday? Friday, me and Grace were sitting here having a conversation about the first year we broke 100K and what that was like, and how it didn't even feel like we broke 100K, because living in New York with the bills that we had, with the car notes and the insurances, and like, nigga, like the cost to live in New York for us.
Oh my gosh.
I did the math between rent,
and this was when you lived in New York, so it's much worse now, bro.
Yeah, I believe it. This was before we left New York. Our bills, our rent, and everything combined was $64,000 a year. That is what it was costing us to live in New York. About 64,000, something like 64,000 a year, dog. So when you cracking 100 something, when you got to pay 64 of it to bills and just existing, we wasn't happy. We wasn't happy. I had a nice car. We had nice clothes. Niggas was, but we wasn't happy.
Yeah.
I wasn't happy with my situation as far as sound, like music wise. I was happy with my situation as far as my handling, but I wasn't happy with a lot of shit. My wife wasn't happy with her job and her placement. We weren't happy. And then I remember some of the best times in my life was being broke, surrounded by the niggas that was hustling with me, as far as like trying to make it and make music, and all we was doing was creating and being in the crib when it was cold, and just having each other, and we didn't have shit to worry about. The bills was paid barely, but it was paid. Like, wasn't nobody tripping off nothing, and it was the camaraderie that you knew the next man was going to catch you if you fail. The fun, the good moments that came from that. And we've had money. When we got money, that shit was cool too. But that's when a lot of the shit that the arguments, the deceit, the snake shit comes in.
Yep.
The bad business. Mm-hmm. People trying to get over on you. Like, so what comes with money is a lot of deception. Even the people having money. When you look at Instagram, it looks like these people, these influencers are happy. I can tell you they're not. Not all of them are unhappy. But I can tell you that there's 24 hours in a day. The 3 minutes it takes them to make the content that you see, the other 23 hours And the 57 minutes do not look like what they show you. They don't. That's why they have things like the Hype House, because if they all were doing that well, there are some people who are doing that well. You talk about the JoJo Siwas, the so on and so forth, that are making millions. But if you're not on that level and you're literally dependent on these sponsors paying all your bills, you're stressed the fuck out. Because every post has to be successful. You can't put up a picture and it don't get 150 likes, 150,000 likes. You can't put up a reel or a TikTok that doesn't get 1 million views. And they keep doing that every time to create something every time. That's stressful.
It is. It is.
That's stressful.
Because you have to be consistently creative, basically.
And then you end up in a situation where once that leaves, you end up wanting that fame. A lot of these people want that fame. Is that really happiness to you? That's not happiness to me, bro. That's not happiness to me. My idea of happiness is being my perfect idea of happiness. My perfect idea of happiness.
I think I know what it is.
Is, without getting graphic, is to be able to. My perfect idea of happiness is to be behind the scenes, doing, whether it be writing for someone or doing something where I'm not on screen, whether it be writing the films or writing the music or whatever it is, cutting a check and being able to walk around the mall. That's my idea of happiness. You looking at artist so-and-so and he walking through the mall and he is worth $40,000 because everything on him is a sponsored product. His cars are rented and his money is advanced from the label. But you know him because he's in front of the camera. Meanwhile, I just got paid $2 million to write his last 3 hits. And me and Jay walking through the mall and you niggas don't recognize us from a hole in the wall. I don't care if you recognize me. I don't like people. I don't care if you recognize me. I don't want you to recognize me. Cut the check and let me go to the mall. Y'all go over there with that popular nigga. I'm going to be over here spending $4,000 on socks. Okay? Like, leave me alone. That is my idea. Exactly, dog. That is my idea of happiness.
I mean, you basically put it perfectly. You know, I can't really say much, you know, or piggyback off that because it's perfectly said, everything you mentioned just now. And it's crazy, you know, like I think I've known you for a significant amount of time, and I've actually seen you evolve as a person from a psychological standpoint, which is something beautiful and something that I admire a lot. And, you know,
thank you.
I'm sure a lot of people have had that same mold, you know, in their life where they see someone that used to think a certain way and now today in the present, they think a totally different way, which is amazing to me. And just reading what Mama said.
To say you and Shayla, okay. my little sister, my little sister Shayla. She's not little; she's grown. She's mid-20s.
No, yeah, definitely.
Shayla, the reason Erica is the teenager. She is the baby.
Yeah,
she's the baby girl.
Right.
Doing Shayla on the reason Erica says she don't like people. She shouldn't like people. Like until they give her a reason. So what the fuck is it? What is the point of liking people? What has liking people ever done for people?
Exactly.
What has liking people? That's a real ass. I'm a fault. Finish what you said, Jay. Finish what you were saying.
Anyway, what I was saying was, you know, everything that you basically said is spot on. You know, because it's like, yeah, you can have all this money, but what about your stress levels? Are they the same? You know, are the stress levels low while you have all that money? More times than not, the stress levels are higher, you know, because you just have so much responsibility. And at times you can have even like more people depending on you because of what you generate, you know, and you may have a working team that you need to be, you know, that you need to oversee, for instance. And like, it's just so much. You know, that when you generate that much money, it's like you constantly have to be like looking over your shoulder, you know, to see who's the next person that's trying to deceive you, basically. And what we see on social media is practically smoke and mirrors all around. You're gonna have there's a large percentage of people on social media that act like they're rich, that they're eating well, and that they're doing these things. And then outside of that, they're probably having spam and they're probably having canned tuna. And you know, they're probably in like soup kitchens, like picking up stuff. So it's like this is real. This is real what you just said. And I think a lot of people need to put their arms, you know, around, you know, what you just mentioned, because it's a reality of things. And you know, especially with social media and everything that you see on the news, on TV, everything that you hear on the radio, it's like it's things that you should just believe in just one half, and that's it, you know, because the other half is just BS. It's just pure BS. But I think it takes a lot of growing up to do. I think it takes a lot of maturity to see things in that way. But sooner or later, you'll see the light, people. And I'm talking to
Brandis.
the young ones.
Hey, Brandis. Yeah. I'm gonna talk about on a different show. Maybe next week we do this, depending upon if we get a guest or not. I have someone lined up, but I don't announce shit till I'm 100%. Please
Bless you,
excuse me.
sir.
What do y'all like? I'm not okay. I'm not gonna. But y'all realize this money comes with pressure. The weight of carrying a company, the weight of carrying a brand, comes with pressure.
Of course.
It comes with pressure. Oh, you see me, Brandon, at the brand news, you heard? At the brand news, you heard? Uh, but it comes with pressure. I've had consistent pressure for years. Consistent pressure for years. And that was part of what led to my depression for a while. Is because you realize that when you get in a position that others and their livelihood and their dreams, and not just them, their children, when they become dependent upon what you do, that's a lot to bear, dog. Knowing that every decision that I make is gonna affect Blake and my niece and my nephew. Knowing that I have to be mindful of what I do in the public eye and business wise, because it changes and affects how they eat and how they move. Knowing that I need to be careful in the way the JaySin podcast moves, because my producers, who are now A&Rs at major labels, can no longer come in here, but they can send artists. But we don't want to be that podcast that gets the reputation for being so tough on artists or so tough on guests that they don't want to send them. There's a pressure of knowing I'm sitting on a beat worth $250,000 that I haven't written to in a year, that when I send it back is expected to be a certain level of quality because of who it comes from. There's pressure that comes with this money. You think niggas just make money and pressure don't come with it? Pressure comes with this. I have songs and features I haven't finished because I haven't finished them, and I get flack all the time. I got a deadline for the end of this month to have half of a project done. Half of a project done. I'm drowning out what noise? I don't know if she's talking to me or, but who like I don't I'm guessing I don't know what noise she's talking about, but
Hold on.
I'm literally sitting in the studio with the inserts and there's nothing happening here. So I don't know. It must be on your side. But anyway, we'll get to that on a different. But money does. You don't just get money and walk away. You don't just get money and walk away. That's not how it works. Niggas don't give you value and then go, here, you're worth $500,000. Go and leave me alone. No. When you're worth something, that comes with levity. Oh, 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 I got it. I got it now.
I'm over here thinking it's me.
I'm thinking it's
sometimes, there's like noise around here.
Bro, I'm sitting. You can't look, Brandis. You can't say noise when you're doing the audible thing. Cause we work anyway. I love you, Brandis. Thank you, man. She is never boring. I can tell you that much.
Definitely.
But yeah, all right. So let's move on to the next thing. I think she will definitely. She got in here at the right time because Brandis has been going through some things in her personal life that I will allow her to keep personal. But
yeah.
Well, I mean, she posted online, so
she gave light to certain things.
She gave light to certain things.
Okay.
So since we're going through this, is unconditional love real?
Real.
Do y'all believe unconditional love is real? This is a really hard question for me.
Why is it hard?
This is a really difficult question for me.
Why is it hard, sir?
Because I feel like unconditional love can be real for like a parent or a child.
Or a pet.
Mm-hmm. Like the love Harley has for me and
it's unconditional.
Is unconditional.
Right.
But I know that when we speak of unconditional love, that's not what we're talking about. I know that when someone asks, "Do you believe in unconditional love?" Niggas ain't asking me if I fuck with my moms.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Hey, you been with your moms?
Like, we know what it's all about.
We know what it's. Hey, you like your sister a little bit? Like, nigga, we know what it's about. We know what it's about. Like, niggas ain't asking if you and your grandma's tight. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they want to know: do you believe in unconditional love in a partner? That's what they mean.
Exactly.
Like, let's cut through the bullshit. Like,
I know, right?
Let's get straight.
Let's cut away from the pets. Let's cut away from like you being a mama's boy. Let's cut from you being a daddy's girl. Let's cut all that bullshit out and let's get to the nitty.
Let's get straight to the steak and potatoes.
Exactly.
Let's get straight to it. No, we got some comments. Let's see what
they gotta say.
Okay. Oof.
Somebody wrote, woo!
That's Brandis. I think we can love without conditions, but there are boundaries. I still love people who hurt me. Yeah.
Okay.
Do I need to question if we good, son? Nah, mama, you good money. You good money, mama. You good money. In my opinion, love never dies. It's an energy. I can love you and pretend you don't exist at the same time. That's what I mean when I say she hit it on the head.
Right.
Brandon hit it on the head with that one. Unconditional love for someone is loving someone so much that you can recognize when you aren't good for each other. Unconditional love, you know what? You go first because I have a segue into our next conversation. with what I'm gonna say. So you go first, and then we could go straight into the next conversation from what I am gonna say. So
I think I do believe that unconditional love is a real thing. It could be a real thing, I believe, with the partner. It all depends
quick question:
on.
can you love a hoe? Can you love a hoe?
Yeah, you can actually love a hoe.
I know people can love a
But
hoe.
wait,
I
but
know a
wait,
nigga who loved a hoe.
but
Can
wait.
you love a
One
hoe?
thing. No, no, not me. But one thing is to love a hoe, and the next thing is to love a hoe unconditionally. There's because the thing is, unconditionally means like there are no conditions. It's perfect.
You don't love your
Like
hoes
like
unconditionally?
like to me, unconditional is like you would die for that person. That to me is unconditional love.
Mm-hmm.
You putting yourself, in harm's way for that individual, for instance, is unconditional love. I mean, that's how I see it. Am I gonna put myself in front of a bus for a hoe? No, of course not. That's not gonna happen.
I
I'm
mean,
not. I'm not gonna love a hoe like that. You know.
but hey, Brand, hey, hoe is life, says
Yeah,
Brandis.
to certain people,
Hoe is
yeah,
life.
definitely. I don't know. I've never been into like hoes for
What's
some
good,
reason.
Bobs?
Hey, Bob's.
Nichols in the building. What's happening?
I just never been into like hoes for some reason. Like I've always been into like nice, wholesome women who are actually homebodies, who actually cook, like take care of you kind of thing, rub your feet. I don't think hoes have time for any of that kind of stuff. Hoes just have
I
time
don't.
to be in a club
I
and
don't want you
like
to have no time for none of that. What are you talking about?
I don't know. But the thing is, me. I'm talking about me. I've never been that type of person. Like to just be with a fast chick, just because or whatever. I'm guessing maybe for the moment, but like I don't
Look,
know. Like after a while, there's just no value in it. I think
look.
and
Like before,
mhm.
before I was married, I don't care if you want to rub my feet. Just rub my meat. Ain't nobody worried about what you talking about. We're talking
You can
about
rub
that.
my meat too. That's fine too.
Nobody worried about that.
But to love a hoe unconditionally, that's deep,
That's
bro.
crazy.
That shit is wild.
That's crazy.
To say I take my life for that hoe,
That's
that's
crazy.
deep.
Okay,
That's
so
deep. That's deep and very profound.
okay, okay. So I just threw the
But
hoe in there as a caveat. But now back to regular love. Do you
yes,
believe regular love like is unconditional?
unconditional. Yes, yes, you can have unconditional love with someone. I've always been a believer that love is something that you actually make with your partner over time, and it's a fire that you have to maintain lit. The thing is, I have to feel that way. You know what I'm saying? I have to love that person unconditionally in order for me to like get in front of that bus, Brandis. You know what I'm saying? It's like I can't if I don't love you unconditionally, I'm not gonna put myself there, no matter what you are, basically. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and if you're a hoe, you're not there for me completely. So why should I be there completely for you? This is what I'm trying to get at. You know what I'm saying? Like a hoe is there for everybody else. A hoe is for the streets. A hoe is for the community. It's not your titty only. It's the community's titty, like Chris Rock said once in a stand-up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like she's for everybody else. She isn't only for you. So
Look.
why should I only be for her?
Let me explain to you real quick before we get back on task. A hoe is is for men and women. And no, I'm not throwing myself in front of a bus for a hoe. The same way I'm not throwing myself in front of a bus for the person that work at the dry cleaner. I'm not throwing myself in front of a bus for a police officer. I'm not throwing myself for for the person behind the counter at the movie theater that put butter on my popcorn. The point is, I'm not throwing myself in front of a bus for nobody because most of the time, my nigga, why is you in front of the bus? That's all I'm asking. What was you doing that you couldn't get from in front of the bus? That now I got to get you from out front the bus. Because if you end, what I've learned about niggas who end up in front of buses, I'll save you now, and it's only a matter of fucking time before your black ass end up back in front of another bus. And then what I die for? What I die for?
Absolutely
No reason.
nothing.
So yeah, there we go. But back to unconditional love.
Unconditional love. I think Tupac had a song with that title, if I'm not mistaken. It was called Unconditional Love. But what I'm saying is,
Hoe is a state of mind, not a set of action. One can be a hoe for the husbands. That's also true, Brandis. Continue.
it depends. But what I'm saying is, unconditional love can be a real thing, between two people. And it has to be a mutual thing, obviously. And it's possible. That's all.
I feel like for me, unconditional love is very real. I have unconditional love with certain people in my life that are not my mom and siblings
and a pet, right?
Right. Like I have unconditional love for you.
Definitely.
What that means is people have to understand love. We tend to tie the word love with sexual or intimate. Okay, this is going to go a little bit deep, so please bear with me. By we I mean society, but especially men and black men tend to tie the word love with something sexual or something intimate with the opposite sex, when intimacy isn't necessarily about sex or physicality at all. Intimacy is simply about a closeness you have with someone. I can be intimate with someone and never have any sexual urges towards them. Because we are having an intimate conversation, it means that we are being very deep, we're being very honest. And I don't have to have it with just a woman. I can have an intimate conversation with Jay. I can have an intimate conversation with my brother. But the way that we view and the way things are viewed in the black male community, which is full of toxic masculinity, this is what it is. So now that I've gotten that out in the playing field for you to understand the rest of this statement, when I say I love someone or when I say I am intimate with someone, it does not mean that when I have unconditional love for them, it does not mean on a physical. It doesn't mean that we have a physical connection all the time. It means that the connection I have with this person to me means more than the relation. The love I have for them is deeper than the relationship. Let me explain what that means. If for any reason going forward in the future, me and Jay cannot see eye to eye, and it gets to the point where me and him are feuding for whatever reason, there are some people whom I genuinely don't fuck with anymore for whatever reason. There are people I no longer can get along with for whatever reason. I would still want Jay. I would stop talking to Jay because I would no longer want to beef with him. And even in so not talking to him, I would still send looks his way for him to be prosperous in the media realm. I would still send things his way for him to be prosperous in the medium and that we use here in our podcast. I would still send looks his way for him to be prosperous in music. I would still send things for him to be able to make money for him and his family, even if I don't have to do it. And I would still want nothing but the best for him, just not in my immediate vicinity.
Yeah.
That is unconditional love. Even when we don't get along, I want nothing but the best for you, and I still want you to win. I understand that I love you enough that we are toxic around each other. See, there's a level of selfishness that comes with love. When you love someone so much, you don't want to let them go. That's a level of toxic selfishness that you are thinking of self. When you unconditionally love someone, you love them so much, you aren't concerned about self. You are only concerned about the well-being of that other person. You only care about how they are, about their well-being, about what matters to them. So it's hard, excuse me, it's hard for me to say I believe in unconditional love in relationships when I have experienced and seen how relationships work between two people. The reason I say that is because what we tend to base our relationships on aren't the same thing we tend to base our friendships on. I have never looked at, I'm being completely honest. I have never looked at a woman across the club and said, damn, she looks like she got the fire conversation. I have never seen a shorty in the street turned around and look at her ass and said, I bet her GPA 4.0. Never. Not once. Never. Never. But I have built relationships with people with whom I have been friends with. So our foundation is completely different than physical. Our foundation is completely different than physical. So the way we started is different. If how you start is if and this is what I mean. I've watched so many people cheat. I watch people fall out of love. I watch people get bored, so on and so forth. And that's human nature. It is. A lot of the time that's human nature. I get it. I do. I get it. Which is why I understand unconditional love can be tough. But when I've watched people cheat and I watch people use the excuse of he or she didn't keep themselves up, or something wasn't right, or I wasn't feeling it. That's a physical thing. That's a physical thing. How is that still in control of your relationship in year 5? If our relationship wasn't built on physical, it doesn't control my relationship. That's a caveat. But once again, that's just me. So when I say I do believe in unconditional love, yes, I do believe in unconditional love, just not in relationships. Not in relationships. I'm married. That's the difference. I have unconditional love for my wife. You don't believe me? Ask her. There's nothing my wife can do on the face of this planet that me and her can't sit down and talk about. There's nothing I could do on the face of the planet that my wife wouldn't want to sit down and talk to me about. I'm not saying that we would just go ahead and shrug it off and act like shit was cool. But that's not, I don't operate out of emotion. I tell y'all this and you don't believe it, but I do not operate out of emotion. That's not how I operate. So, but what that also means now going forward, let me get to these comments. Hold on. I'll talk about trifling hoes. and buses come every 15 minutes.
Yeah, the buses are going to keep rolling.
Mm-hmm. Appreciate you, Bobs. Appreciate you. Yeah, always, Bobs. Always. Yeah. So what I mean to segue into the next topic is that we don't deal with, love on a certain level of stuff when you find a brotherhood, especially when you get a brotherhood like ours, or like
definitely
like me and like the Paxtons or whoever. When you find a brotherhood that's so tough,
right?
That's real love. That's unconditional love.
Surely.
Which is why when you get stabbed in the back, or you feel like you're stabbed in the back, it hurts more.
It stings. Definitely, it stings a lot more.
And that leads us to our next topic.
Slaughterhouse.
So, what that means is that, appreciate you, D. What that means, for those who have not been keeping up, Slaughterhouse, the rap group, got into some real heavy beef this week. Let me just break down pretty much what happened. Joel Ortiz and Crooked released a song.
Isn't it King Crooked or something like
King
that?
Crooked, yeah. King Crooked now. King Crooked and Joel Ortiz released a song called Vacancy. And they also released the first 2 parts of their vlog called Foreclosure, which was then followed up by a second song called Backstage and a video for the quote-unquote Slaughterhouse album that is coming out on March 11th that only contains 2
of the members
from Slaughterhouse. Russ the 5'9" and Joe Budden were not included. The first 2 songs seem to talk about where things have gone wrong and about how this has gotten to where it has gotten. It also, Joe and Royce have responded, and Joe said he was hurt. Royce didn't understand where it came from. Joella and King have pretty much stood on look, it's been 10 years since the album. Y'all, Joe said he retired from rap. He stood on that. We brought a deal to the table. Royce said he wasn't going to do it with 3 people. We wanted to get off Shady. We got off Shady a year ago. Nobody's done anything with the imprint. Like, it's time we put this to rest and move forward. Which led to a conversation on IG, which between Royce and Joe, who were talking it out. Joel Ortiz ended up joining the conversation where it got pretty heated because you're talking about brothers. All of them consider each other brothers, 4 men who helped each other through thick and thin, and now they're feeling like they're being betrayed, and it's 2-on-2. And the word liar, and long story short, it's very intense because I can understand how one side is not understanding the other. And then there's, the little schematics of your logo is our logo on fire. Like, you niggas went and put our logo on fire and made it your logo. Like, what the like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot that goes into it. And it ended with what sounded like, I'm going to say sounded like, because if you listen, is different. Joel Ortiz asks Joe Budden, support it. And Joe Budden is like, Joe Budden says, Joel, at the end of all this, I love you, bro. I wish nothing but the best for you. I just can't bang with this album. I'm sorry. And Joel is, if you love me, then you'll support the album. He's like, what? He's like, if you love me, you'll support it. Tell your friends to listen, so on and so forth. Tell everybody to listen. Joe, you're like, you turned into this media mogul since the last time we were in the group. Like, people hang on what you say. Tell them to listen to the album. Like, you know what I mean? And Joe's response was, are you serious? That album can suck my dick. But because of the melee and the talking, it sounded like Joe said suck my dick directly to Joel Ortiz.
Right. Instead of the album. Right.
Instead of the album. As a man, the worst thing you can ever do to another man is tell another grown man to suck my dick. That was it. That sent Joel off the deep end to where even on the live, he got ready to get off, and he stopped and he came back to the camera. He said, Joe, that last comment, you're going to regret that. Logs off. These are niggas who are brothers. It has been a hot topic in the hip-hop community because these 4 guys are not only just rappers, they're extremely great rappers. They were brothers, and they are tied to so many beautiful and wonderful things that happen in our culture. It is a big deal right now. Jay, how do you feel about what's happening with Slaughterhouse?
I mean, to sum it up all in one word, is just simply terrible. If you're a follower, of the group, and hey, Grace.
What's up, baby?
If you're a follower of the group, and you're just a follower of hip hop and you're an actual fan of it, then this is just pathetic and sad, all in one. And it's just terrible. And I feel like Joe needs to be a little bit more mature. And he needs to basically, not needs to, because no one needs to do anything, but he should show a more compassionate side to this situation, I think. And he needs to be a little bit more supportive. Because indeed, if you do love someone, and I agree with Joel Ortiz, you would support them no matter what. I mean, that's what unconditional love is all about. And that's why we segued basically into this topic. With that being said, it's just unfortunate all around. I mean, the state of hip hop right now is in a fragile state. And I think with this, with these 4 artists, especially when we talk about them, if you know who Slaughterhouse is, Podfolk, or for anybody who's, young and looking at this or listening to this through any of our platforms, I think that you have to know how these 4 figures basically came together, as one to create a super group. And I think once you would understand that, you would see how kind of heartbreaking this all is, and the way it's going and the way it's transpiring. And I'm just truly disappointed, at all of this, because the fan in me, the hip hop fan in me, who truly covets, great quality songs, with different concepts of life, things that are relatable. It's just terrible. I'm just at a loss for words, I didn't expect this. I'm sure this was, this was going to happen, at some point, because, we have, once again, four figures, in King Crooked, Joel Ortiz, Royce the 5'9", and Joe Budden, who are so talented. And it's just crazy how ego can come in between, a group of people. And, I'm definitely not a fan, of anything that's going on at this moment in time. And I just feel like these four brothers just need to sit in a room and basically hash things out. And, if there's one or two that doesn't want to mess with the project, then so be it. But I think they should still be in it, at least for the support. And, that's how I basically think about things, at this moment in time in regards to Slaughterhouse. And that's it. That's all I have to say.
I'm very impartial. I'm very biased. I guess to a certain extent because I come from a collective. I'm an individual artist that is part of a collective, just like Slaughterhouse was. You had four individual artists who created Slaughterhouse. You have a bunch of individual artists that created Triple SC, South Shore Social Club, which is what I am part of. If you go to the website, if you actually go to South Shore Social Club, you'll find me, you'll find Dave, you'll find Chris, you'll find Saidi, you'll find everybody that's in it. You'll find Rockwell Knuckles, you'll find all of us. And every now and then there's an iconic picture of us at Free Candy, just kind of all of us in the circle. The only picture of all of us in the collective together. The only one. And shout out to Rocky, his birthday was yesterday.
Shouts.
But I also know what it takes to keep something like that afloat. I know what it is when I know I know what it takes to keep something like that afloat. I know how hard it is to keep everyone happy. But the reality of it is when everyone is independent artists, it's not very hard. When everyone is solo, it's not super difficult to keep everyone happy in that vein. But there's a reason there's no Triple SC project. Because trying to get us all together to agree on everything all the time or in the same space all the time is difficult. And then agreeing on a finished project, even for one song, is difficult. We don't even agree all on the same website. Like they sent me the website. The first thing I did was start to fucking pick through it. Like I'm just not happy. And it's not because I wasn't happy. It was a great website. It's just I know you didn't think of this or that. It's just small shit. The way human brains work.
Correct. Right.
So when I see these four gentlemen who are absolutely savages at what they do, who are like the cream of the crop in music, cream of the crop in rap, like who are really good at what they do, you know that this had nothing to do with rapping. This had nothing to do with niggas not being able to make music. They've proven that they will rap niggas, rap circles around niggas. And that's what bothers me, that it had nothing to do with the music. Because usually it never does.
Right.
It never has nothing to do with the music. It's always the business and it's always the shit behind the scenes that fucks with it. And here we are again. Now, the only problem I have with the beef, I agree. It's only two of you. Why did you have to use the Slaughterhouse imprint?
Right.
You could have came up with another name.
I
You
agree.
didn't have to use a slaughterhouse imprint. You didn't have to use the term foreclosure with the picture of the house being foreclosed. You didn't have to make your logo, our logo, on fire. Like,
I think that was all done for marketing purposes as
and
well.
and that's what. And but the thing is, they got called on it being for marketing, and they're like, no,
Right.
it's not. It's not for that. And Joe
It
being
is.
Joe being who he is, he's like, you're a liar.
Yeah.
He was like, you're a liar, and like Joe is of course Joe is by far the most versed in business. So when he's what they say is playing semantics with words, he's just being very honest. Like Joel Ortiz is like, this is our logo. Joe Budden's like, you don't have a logo. He's like, no, this is our logo. He's like, you don't have a logo. And Joel Ortiz is like, we haven't put the pig on fire. We haven't done anything with the pig on fire. And he's like, it doesn't matter what we've done with it. You don't own a logo. First off, Slaughterhouse is split into 25% of everything. So you only own 25% of Slaughterhouse, which means the moment you dropped this album and called it a Slaughterhouse album,
Right.
legally, me and Royce are you know, privy to 50% of everything that comes from it. Whether we want to pursue it or not is
It's
another
on
thing.
them. Right.
Right.
It's on them. Right.
And I'm not going to pursue it. But do you realize that you're part of an imprint? You don't have the right to just go make an album using our imprint.
Because he's part
logo.
of it. Right.
Exactly. That logo that you claim is your logo isn't your logo. We own the rights to that logo. And all you did was put it on fire. But all you did was disturb the likeness of it. You still use our logo, which we did not sign off on you using. So what it is like Joe is really coming at it from a business standpoint.
Right.
Of like, damn, this is what it is. You niggas tried to do it for a money grab. I get it. I'm hurt, but King, do what it is. Just leave me out of it.
Right.
And the way he feels is like Joel and them niggas is not only saying like, we doing the money grab, we doing it without y'all, we telling the fans that it's y'all fault the album didn't come out.
Okay. Okay.
Now we want y'all to promote the album while we talking shit about y'all.
I see. I see where you're coming from now. What you're saying now, makes a lot of sense. And I can see why Joe feels, the way he feels, just based on the way that you actually explained it, from the business side of things. So
right. Like you could
I could see that.
You could have called yourselves by another name, made the same exact songs.
Right.
And I might have still banged with it. Because it's not our imprint. You and him could have been telling your Slaughterhouse story from a whole different another name.
Correct. Right.
And I'm okay with it. We've been off the label for a year. You didn't even give us a chance to do nothing with the imprint.
Correct.
So
once again, I just feel overall it's a bummer overall, for those, who cherished and who listened to Slaughterhouse, while, they were growing up and, while they were in their prime, as a group. It's just unfortunate and it's just very disappointing, that all of this has become of Slaughterhouse, because I think music is cyclical in a lot of ways because we've seen these large breakups, with a lot of groups, with a lot of duos over the history of time, when it comes to music. And this is just another one that we've added to the list.
It bothers me because I remember being there for the start of Slaughterhouse.
Right.
I remember being at South by Southwest. I remember hanging out with Yellow Wolf on 6th Street. Like, as he got signed, the first year he got signed.
Right.
And we still got footage of all the shit. I remember kicking it on 6th Street and trying to fake learn how to skateboard and shit.
Right.
My big ass fake trying to learn from Yellow Wolf how to skateboard and shit. And that night, having these niggas come out and perform as Slaughterhouse at South by Southwest, and like just being privy to that entire situation while we was on the road out there, and it was watching that was unreal.
Of course, I could imagine the experience was
watching that was unreal. The experience of it all was unreal. Seeing some of my favorite artists like close up in person for the first time, like for real, and then being privy to watch them hit the stage together, bro, and being Slaughterhouse fans already, listening to Slaughterhouse on the way out, like, man, it was a big fucking deal. It was a big deal. Slaughterhouse didn't blow up because they were made. They blew up organically by independent. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
crazy. So to see this happen, it does hurt.
Of course.
It does hurt. It's like watching some of my best friends break up and fight, and I can't say shit because it's not my business.
It's similar to when actually the Diplomats, were feuding at one point altogether.
Very much.
That hurt my soul.
Very much so.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it's like to me. So,
yeah.
But yeah, man. So I wish nothing but the best for all those guys. We're gonna go ahead into the last topic today. The Batman. Was that good?
That was good.
I
mean, all right. I think the first time was better.
Whatever. Anyway, The Batman came out Friday. Did you have any expectation for The Batman? Are there any expectations? Are you going to see it? When what? Give me some info.
Yes, we're definitely going to check it out. I was just going to say that I think Batman is still one of the most polarizing characters in all of the comic and cinematic universe, and I think Batman is a character that can basically reinvent himself, over time. And DC basically lives through Batman. When I think of DC, the first thing I think about is Batman. I don't think about Supes. No. I don't think about Superman. Okay? No. For those Superman lovers out there, I don't give a fuck about you. Exactly. You were excommunicated by a gang of psychopaths. But anyway, DC is Batman. Batman is DC. And I always like to throw this in, but Chris Nolan's trilogy to me is the greatest movie set for a single superhero of all time, for me personally.
No, I agree.
From Batman Begins to The Dark Knight to The Dark Knight Rises, it was boom, boom, boom. It was it was just wonderful. And I think Batman, we can identify ourselves so much with Batman, with the different characteristics that he has. Who needs a timeout? Me?
Mama. Do you need a timeout? Where is she? Erica, where is she?
Anyway, what I was going to say was that... oh, man. That I think we can relate as humans, with Batman and with the emotions that he goes through and the stress that he actually has to deal with, as a character, and I think it's important to, to just point those things out. And that's why I think Batman could never be a miss as long as there's people like us around who actually love the character and appreciate him, for all its value and all he's actually worth. I think the budget for this movie was about 185 to 200 million. I think it's going to far exceed that. I think there's just a certain crowd that will never get sick of Batman. And I think as time goes on, I think DC is doing a great job in acquiring a younger audience to kind of give them the torch so they can continue, feeding into Batman and just being okay. Thank you. I usually am the good son,
I am vengeance.
But I think definitely DC is they've been doing a fantastic job with Batman for decades now. And once again, I think they're acquiring a younger audience. They're getting younger people to know Batman and like Batman and appreciate his movies. And I'm just a fan all around. So I'm going to be very biased, when it comes to Batman. He's probably my favorite superhero because he's as close to me, than I think any other like superhero I can think of who has like real like superpowers and stuff like that. We're talking about a man, just a simple man, who has a set of skills, and obviously, he has fortune and stuff like that. Maybe I can't relate in that sense, but as just overall, just a human being, just waking up every day, like I feel like I'm Batman. I feel like I have to be Batman, for certain people, and that's just the way I see things, and that's my viewpoint. I'm surprised you don't have a Batman tattoo or a Joker tattoo, at least.
I actually have two that were in the works. I just haven't had a chance to go get them. One
Okay.
of them is actually the bat symbol,
Okay.
but with the Joker's face inside the bat symbol.
Right.
And the other that I have is just the sick Joker smile. So yeah, I'm ready for those. Not at outside looking more like outside. It's time to go get those.
But to end that, I just want to say that the expectations, I expect them to be exceeded in regards to the Batman.
Marvel over everything.
Not over Batman. It's not that easy.
But Batman to me is on par with maybe what Marvel,
and that's just one
doing.
Character.
But that's all they got, unfortunately. At DC.
No, of course, no.
So, but I feel like the Batman brand. I almost want to say it's not DC. Like it's just Batman. Because Marvel was smoking everybody else's boots for everything.
But it is a part of it. And actually, I think in terms of like TV shows, I think DC is a little bit better than Marvel because I've seen some Marvel shows where I'm like, this shit is whack. Now, in terms of movies, Marvel got it. I can't take that away from them.
In terms of the animated films, DC smoking Marvel boots.
Oh man.
Like that DC is smoking Marvel's boots. But as far as like the new shows that Marvel has, like WandaVision and like them shits was fire. Them shits was fire. Them shits was fire.
Bro, I can't.
Them shits was fire.
I'd rather watch the animated DC movies. That's what I meant to say. Not DC TV shows, but their animated series, the things that they do.
Yeah,
in terms of the animated.
The WandaVision, like what was it? The Hawkeye, that shit was fire. Fire, nigga. Like, yeah, but anyway. I think Batman's gonna be good. I'm excited to see it. I just gotta wait for Grace to get home.
Do you think it's gonna exceed expectations?
Yes, because remember, it wasn't only until recently niggas got excited about the film.
Right.
When it was first introduced, niggas was like, nobody wants to see the Twilight nigga in the suit. Like, it got a lot of pushback initially.
Oh yeah, especially when they name a new Batman, because a lot of people have trouble adjusting to change.
Exactly. So it got a lot of pushback for a while, and it really wasn't probably until like the last 7 months that it turned around where people were like, okay, and I
started gravitating towards the idea.
I am feeling like one of the big reasons is how it's directed and the portrayal of the Riddler. It is. I've heard like this is months.
Oh, by Paul Dano, actually, yeah, definitely.
This is months ago from critics who said they've never seen the Riddler done in this manner, and that this is borderline a horror film, like a horror thriller film, and it is the darkest Batman film they've ever seen, which to me is interesting as fuck.
Of course it is. And it makes you want to watch it at least.
And knowing that Riddler has always been played like some 2-bit nigga to just throw around. Like, I never really liked that's how they made Riddler.
Correct.
But I'm glad
really goofy.
Yeah, like
yeah.
When in reality he was really fucking smart. He was a fucking genius. And
he was an actual threat. Definitely.
Yeah, and he could have gotten away with anything. The whole point is he just wanted to get rid of. He just wanted to play with Batman because the same reason Joker did. Like,
Correct.
It's a alpha male thing. It's
Right.
when you feel like you are the best at what you do, believing that there's someone close to you, or that you have to prove it. You have to prove. I have to prove I'm better than Batman.
Correct.
I have to prove it. You don't get shit for proving you're better than Batman, but I have to prove it.
Correct.
Otherwise, it'll eat at me all day for the rest of my life, and I'll never be okay.
Right.
So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. And then
I think
Doctor Strange too. Oh my god, Doctor Strange 2. We're not even gonna start. We're not gonna start because we're gonna keep.
That's a whole separate.
If we don't get off of here now, like
that's a whole separate conversation. But in terms of Dark, and Davon just mentioned it just now. I think that's what makes Batman unique. And I think that's when they bring who the real Batman is onto the screen. And I think that goes along with all the other characters as well. Because you think about it, we saw Bane, for instance, at a different light when The Dark Knight Rises. We saw a much darker Bane, a much smarter Bane. We didn't see a steroid-induced, freaky kind of Bane like we saw in the animated series, and we see, in other parts, in other movies. I think it was Batman Forever that he came out. Bane was just like, that's all we saw. Like, he wasn't even talking or anything like that. So, I think bringing the realistic side of these characters, it makes it for all to be a success, I think, in the end.
I agree. And I'm not going to lie, like, we ain't excited to see Zoe Kravitz in the cat suit.
Oh, of course, definitely. We're all in on that.
Yeah, all right, definitely. Ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all for tuning in next week.
Hey, before I go.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Christian Bale is still the greatest Batman ever. That's it.
While we're here, go to clapcleats.com, use the code POWERFOLK, get 15% off.
Get your merch, get your free NFT.
Get your merch, get your NFTs, go get your shit from the store, go buy a sweater or some drawers.
Go support us on all the major audio platforms.
Go buy some drawers or some socks or something. Or
follow us on YouTube. Follow us on YouTube. Thank you so much, everybody, for the support. Thank you to everybody who tuned in. Shout out to you. Week. Have a wonderful week, everybody.
See y'all tomorrow on the OT. 8 o'clock on Convos.
Yeah, we'll see you on Convos tomorrow. Yeah.
We out there. Huh.